ladies and gentlemen, this is really powerful information. How hard you're rowing does not matter as much as what boat you are in.
Now, guess who the first is and how much revenue efficiency it has. Now you shut up and not another word from you. Not a single word from you.
Sorry.
Until I say you can speak. Measure your own learning techniques. Don't just go after mine. I have developed some. I have observed my learning techniques, how I learn, how I try and learn.
उनो,
Powered
dos,
by Riverside
tres.
FM.
आज और आदाब, अभिनंदन आभार। मैं टिम द्विवेदी आप सभी का तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूं इस अद्भुत से पॉडकास्ट में जिसका नाम है रैंक्स टू रिचेस। आप इस वक्त इस दुनिया के दो सबसे शक्तिशाली युवकों को देख रहे हैं जो कि आपके सामने अगले 1 से 2 घंटे के लिए अखंड बकैती करने का इरादा रख के आए हैं यहाँ पे। उसके बीच में यदि आपको थोड़ी वैल्यू मिल जाती है तो बहुत अच्छी बात होगी, नहीं मिलती है तो हंस के जोक मार के लाइक मार के जरूर जाए। तो हमारे साथ
सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें।
जिनके परिचय की कुछ खास आवश्यकता नहीं है, बिकॉज ही इज अ मैन हु डजंट नीड एनी इंट्रोडक्शन। तो इस अद्भुत से पॉडकास्ट का प्रारंभ करने से पहले सार्थक भाई, हाउ वाज योर वीक?
My week has been pretty phenomenal. Very chaotic, but very, very phenomenal week. And we have switched from pure Hindi to pure English because we should. And well, the starting of the week was filled with editing. And my guy, did you make my life living hell? But anyways, for those
Sometimes
of
I
you
do, bro.
who
Sometimes I make it a heaven, sometimes I make it hell.
you don't make it heaven for me, I don't know for whom you make it heaven. So, but let's not go into that.
Fair enough.
For those of you who don't know, this guy recorded the whole podcast last time on speaker. In his audio, I was able to hear myself back. When I was compiling the podcast, it was so funny, and I was like, how to do this? But even though he made my life living hell, it turned out to be good, and your responses have been very, very positive, for which I am really, really grateful. And the next part of the
Same
week,
here, bro. Same here.
yeah, and the next part of the week was filled with counseling, and again counseling. I might have missed it because, man, it took almost, and it's still going on for me. I have certain documents to upload and this and that. But Tim, the man, the myth, the legend, how was your week?
The week was amazing, just like all my days are. I am absolutely grateful to be alive and doing this beautiful podcast with my closest friend. And apart from the fact that the first 2 days I had a bit fever, I was too hot to handle, I guess. And
I hope you are fine now.
Yes, I am fine now. I'm doing amazing now. That's why I went to Ayodhya for the last 2 days. I was too hot to handle. Then I went to seek some God's blessings.
Yeah, because he should have cooled you down, which I believe he did. Otherwise, you would have been a menace to society.
I might be, bro. I might be in a few years. I might be a menace to society. Who knows?
Yeah. I sometimes feel I would be getting a call for an assassin. We need to take Trembakej down.
That might be the case sometimes.
Yeah.
The Matrix will get you there. The Matrix will
get you.
Get me. Anyway, bro, we went from just asking how was the week to just dark psychology stuff. I like the way it's going.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's just been a few minutes. Fair enough.
I think give us an hour and we will unravel all the mysteries of Illuminati.
Beautiful. So, yeah, for the last, I went to Ayodhya on Saturday. Beautiful place, beautiful people, great Food, no, food is not that great, but great
But
experiences
who?
to be had there. The people are really easy to talk to.
Yeah,
With.
who goes to Ayodhya for food anyways?
I mean, you always need some snacks, right? Both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, but sometimes life is better without snacks, you know.
Yeah, you're right. Without the SNACK and SNAC. Anyway, we are here to provide value, not to keep making Gen Z jokes. But
Yeah.
you'll have a ton of them, bro.
Yeah, as I said last time,
Okay,
every
then.
69 seconds or so.
Beautiful, beautiful, yeah. We should sometimes have a timer right here that every 69 seconds it's passing and it resets whenever we make a joke.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So,
what are
let's.
we talking
Yeah,
about
go
today
ahead.
then?
Okay, so guys, let's get into a bit of serious mode. This is the most beautiful and the most fundamental concepts that I've ever come across in my life. This has given me answers to questions that I could ask no one about because I did not know whom I should ask them. And I hope this will help you a lot. Okay? And basically, my life has been changed ever since I learned about this concept, and it gives you a whole new frame of reference to see the world. I call the concept leverage. I mean, it's not my terminology, it's basically every heavy hitter's terminology. So, I'll ask a question to begin this podcast. Sarthak, since you are my lab rat right here, so I'll ask you the first question. Whom do you think is the best physics teacher in India?
Okay, my answer is would be very much inclined to a person. I don't know many people know about him or not. Ambrish sir, the physics shelter, and no promotions here. We are getting no money. So before you jump on to conclusions, but I feel, yeah, was that a hypothetical question? No, that wasn't. No, there are not many. For me, there is just one, and he has helped me a lot. So that
Who
is
is,
what I would say.
who is this? Who is this person? How did you find him?
Well, I found him through word of mouth from a friend, but he teaches in a coaching in Mumbai, I guess. Very sure, but yeah, he has a YouTube channel named.
Did you find his YouTube channel?
Yes, I found his YouTube channel,
Good.
The Physics Show.
Awesome, awesome. So, my friend, this is the same question that I posed to you because this seems to be the most relevant topic to explain leverage. If I ask this to a group of 118-year-olds in any city, in any place of the world, in any place in India, you would get answers like Salim sir of PW, Motions NV sir, MR sir, or some other very popular teacher who is online. Many people would say Alak sir. However, ladies and gentlemen, none of the people you've used as answers is a physicist. Like, they're not actively conducting research, which means there are more educated and more knowledgeable people on that topic. Just to clarify myself, I'm not attacking personally any of them. This is just an example to illustrate my point. So, these are not the best knowledgeable people. I mean, they are not the top 1% physicists in the world. That's for sure. So, do you think that there are not better physics experts in India? Of course there are. However, if you go to any offline coaching, which means not a chain of coachings like some Patal and Alien, but if you go into an offline coaching which is done by a local teacher, or if you ask your school teachers about physics wala, they would most probably hate the entire organization. I've personally observed this in high school, and I've seen many teachers do that. They indirectly hate him, or even if they don't hate, they would give you a glance that might signal that they have certain bit of disrespect for him. And I'll tell you guys why. The people who are teaching in those schools. No more than Alak Pandey. That's sure. Alak Pandey is a 12th pass. I am not saying this, he himself says that. He's a 12th pass. And these people, they have come to teaching to your school or your coaching after not even just completing their 12th, completing their bachelor's, their master's, some even PhDs, and a few even postdoctorates. Yet, Alak sir is making way more money than them. And not just more, in multiples. I'm talking about orders of magnitude. 10 times, 100 times, 1000 times, 1 lakh times more money than them. I mean, whenever I say this, you have people who come to me and say, bro, money is not everything. But how else do you measure success? In our society, whether positively or whether fortunately or unfortunately, money is a great parameter with which we measure success. So, ladies and gentlemen, the answer to why Mr. Alak Pandey makes more money than people who are more educated than him is because of leverage. Leverage is the answer to the question of why is this guy who knows less than me, he's less hardworking than me, getting better results than me? The answer is leverage. In many places, if you go onto the corners of YouTube where the common people hang out, many places you would see that a master's student is preparing for a competitive examination or doing a very low menial job at a local school, whereas a 12th fail YouTuber is currently leading the country in terms of YouTube content. I know you know whom I'm referring to. He's currently making bank, he's printing. The answer to all of that is leverage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really I'm really passionate about this topic. Whenever someone comes to me to enlighten themselves, the first topic I teach them is leverage. So, does that make sense, Arthur, till now?
It absolutely does make sense to me, but it also opens a lot of questions in my mind. What is this leverage? How do we get it? Why do we get it? Tim.
I'm glad you asked that, my friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's session on leverage. So, leverage. While talking about leverage, I will refer to a guy named Naval Ravikant. He is an absolute goat. You know, he is an Indian from origin. He was living in Delhi and he went to the United States when he was 10 to 11 years old. And then his parents got separated. After that, he had to work at a restaurant washing dishes for a living. And today he's one of the most respected Silicon Valley venture capitalists that people know about. He's very famous for his Twitter thread called How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. So, in that section, he talks about leverage. Even Warren Buffett also talks about leverage. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is really powerful information, so use it after using your mind with common sense, okay? And that, guys, I still have a bit of coughing left. Anyway, so leverage is mainly of 4 types. On top, you have labor. Labor as mean other people coming and working for you, working with you, helping you. On the second part, you have capital. Capital means money. And on the third part, you have 2 sections right here. You have code, as in software, and media, as in this podcast which you are listening to, or any other content which someone might create and distribute to a large number of people at the same time. The first two, capital and labor, are permission-based leverage. By permission-based, I mean that for someone, like for labor if we talk about, Rockefeller made his riches with the help of using labor as leverage. It is permission-based leverage because someone has to agree to come to work for you or work with you. So you need other people's permission to use this form of leverage. Capital is also a form of leverage which is permission-based, because for you to have money, other people must give it to you. That is why this is also a permission-based leverage. And on the last tier, we have two forms of leverage, code and media. These two are permission-based leverage. This has made the Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates, the Alak Pandays, all of that, the Carrie Minatis, all of those have been made by these two bottom forms of leverage, and the Mr. Beasts. So, code, which means that Sarthak can code a software right now which provides value to other people, and he does not have a marginal cost of replication. So these two forms of leverage do not have a marginal cost of replication, which means that Sarthak can create a software right now and distribute it to thousands of people without additional work per unit of the software being sold. Of course, there are charges in terms of that he would have to pay for the for the server costs, for the usage cost, which would require him to keep 1,000 people or 10,000 people coming to his website. But you get the point. There isn't any major cost which is occurring while he's trying to reproduce that leverage, while he's trying to reproduce that piece of software. Another part, media. Mr. Beast can create one video and hundreds of millions of people can watch it. I can explain the concept of leverage to one person, and it would take me the same amount of energy as it would take for me to record the session once and distribute it to thousands of people, just put it on YouTube where thousands and eventually millions of people could end up watching it. So that's why these two are permission-less leverage with no marginal cost of replication. I don't have to ask you to consume my content. It would come into your feed and you can watch it. Okay? And Sarthak doesn't have to ask or convince people to use his software. If they have a need, they come to his website, log in and start using his software. That's why these both are permission-less leverage. Does that make sense till here, Sarthak?
It absolutely does. But once again, I ask, you took the example of Alak Pandey, that he makes more than top 1% of the physicists. What leverage do you think he has?
Right. Beautiful question. I was waiting to get till here. Very good, my friend. So, Sarthak has given the example of Alak sir. I'm sorry. Sarthak has asked the question about Alak sir, and I was right about to get into his example. So, we all know Alak sir for the content that he used to create with that whiteboard marker, with that small fan in the background. All those videos which he uploaded back in 2018, and students still watch them, ladies and gentlemen. That is why it is a form of leverage. And vintage Alak. And there's a whole cult-like following which just sticks to those videos and not to the content which is available today on his platform. The first form of leverage that he had was media. It would take him the same amount of effort to teach a class of 100 students as it would take him to record a video which would be watched by millions of people in the upcoming following years. That was the first form of leverage that he got. And then the second form of leverage, code. He made his app where anyone could log in, register, pay him for his courses, and he could make money without of course a permission-based leverage. Without of course a permission-based leverage. भाई ये थोड़ा कट कर देना, हाँ, जो मेरा repetition हो जा रहा है, flow टूट जा रहा है, तो repetition हो जा रहा है या मैं कुछ stutter कर जा रहा हूँ, तो हाँ हट जाएगा अभी वो भी, ठीक है? तो हाँ, then he made his app, and as we have all watched the series, he made 3 crore rupees from the first sale of his courses, and I'm very sure that my 3 generations combined haven't made 3 crore rupees in their lifetime. So he made that in one day. That's leverage for you.
But next, he made 3 crores on his first sale. But let's say I launch an app today using better content, better quality, better media, but I won't get 3 crores. No matter how much advertising I do, no matter how good my content is, then it means that he still had leverage at that point. What and how did he get that leverage? how did he get to a point
I'll
that when he
answer that.
launched his app, he got 3 crores?
Complete what you say. Got. So yeah, I'll answer that question, but let me first answering the first question that you had was what forms of leverage he had. So after having media and code, then he hired people. He hired teachers underneath him to work for him and teach his students. So many of the teachers were more qualified than them, better educated than them. Many of the teachers were more qualified than him, better educated than him, and yet he still made the money. He still made more money than them because he owned the system. He was employing the leverage, which was people, and he was having people work underneath him. So that is another form of leverage. And then finally, this was when he made the headlines back, I think 2 or 3 years back, when he raised a funding round which brought his company's valuation to $1 billion. That is finally when he got the leverage of capital. That is why you see him so aggressively scaling, having PW Vidyapeeths in almost every major city in India, even metropolitan cities. So yeah, that is the 4 forms of leverage. He has all 4 of them working to a certain extent. Now let's answer Sarthak's question that if he launches an app today with the same value, better content, with the same value, better content, and he couldn't get 3 crore rupees with no matter how much advertising he does. This is a marketing question. I could explain the answer to this, but most of you guys, it would go right above your head because I have the foundations necessary that would take it to. The answer to this is, let me give you a simple answer. When he launched that app, he already had the brand. Okay, so he already had a considerable following of people who knew him, who liked him, and who trusted him. That's why they chose to pay him the money and get his courses. And that's why he made 3 crore rupees in one day. That is right, the answer. And if you do it now, I would love to explain it because I know the answer, but you guys wouldn't understand so let me still try. So I don't want it to be a marketing podcast, but okay, I'll explain it in simple words. So whenever someone comes to you with an offer about anything, there are a few stages of a market. Whenever someone comes to a market with an offer, there are a few stages to a market. There is completely unaware market, which means that they haven't heard of this offer anytime. So then they would be interested in knowing what the offer is because it's unique to them. Currently, with the education technology industry we have in India, we are at level 5. So there are a total of 5 levels. Level 1 is when the market is completely new and someone brings a new product. And level 5 is when they've been tired of hearing all the claims. They've been tired of, doing all the offers, guarantees and stuff like that. They have heard all of that stuff. So now they don't trust that much in anyone. They don't have any trust in the people. So we have that right now in the education industry. So even if Sarthak comes up with a better product, they might not trust him with their money. He might not make 3 crores. The solution to that is to use a unique mechanism, which means that to package your product and to also have a unique mechanism built inside that product, which gives it inherently a new value and which creates a different market for its own. That's it. So the unique mechanism which should help people differentiate Sarthak's product from all the other ones that are present in the market. And Sarthak, I'm not going to ask you if you have any other questions because you completely fucking break my flow. Okay, so don't mind that, but we'll get to questions at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, just keep noting them down.
Yeah.
And post them all at once.
Okay. Yep.
Beautiful. So, I have another story that I have to tell. We all know Warren Buffett. If you don't know Warren Buffett, bro, please fix your life. I don't know what you're doing with your life. Warren Buffett, for those who don't,
you know what he is doing with his life, but let's not tell the truth to them.
Yeah, that is right. So, fair enough. Cool. So, what was I saying? Sarthak, you son of a bitch.
Last time you also did this to me with Magnus Carlsen agrees. But okay. I
Okay, we
mean,
have
this
one
is
for
the
one.
fun part of the podcast as well. Yes, we are 1 for 1. It's a
Okay, cool.
competitive environment now.
Okay, fair enough. So, Warren Buffett, probably the best stock market investor who has ever walked this earth. He has made some successful, really successful trades than most other investors ever do in their lifetime. He bought his first stock at the age of 7. Guys, think about it. What were we doing when we were in class 7? I don't even remember. Sorry, not class 7, at the age of 7. So he bought his first stock at that age. And he's currently, I think, 93 years old, 94 years old. He's been investing throughout that life. The story that I want to convey to you is that I'm really sorry, guys. So, when Warren Buffett graduated from the University of Nebraska, another of his classmates graduated along with him, and this other guy was more hardworking, smarter, and had a better work ethic, sharper than Warren Buffett. Yet still, no one knows who this guy is. I just know about the story. I don't even know what the name of the guy was. But Warren Buffett currently is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Everyone knows who he is, and he's really famous, really wise guy. Why? Because Warren Buffett, when he passed out of his university, he went to Paul Graham. Paul Graham was a stock market investor, and he wanted to work for him for free. There's another story about him, which I will tell in some later podcast. And this other dude, he went to work in steel. Steel, you might think should have been a lucrative industry to work in at that time, but ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't. Because it was the time when America was opening its borders to imported steel. It was getting really competitive, really not so good of a market to be in. Yet Warren Buffett managed to ride the biggest wave the US economy has ever seen. It was the biggest growth wave just after the Great Depression, and that is what made him rich. So after that, he had made a quote referencing his friend and himself. It doesn't matter that much how hard you are rowing, but what matters is what boat you are in. I think I fucked up, so I'll do it again. He said, and I quote, "It doesn't matter." So Warren Buffett said, and I quote, "How hard you're rowing does not matter as much as what you. How hard you're rowing does not matter as much as what boat you are in." So he was in a better boat than his friend, and that's why he succeeded more than his friend. So being in a good industry, being in a rising economy can help you get more leverage. Now, I'll talk to you about another concept which is my own of creating. This is you won't find this anywhere else, and this I have learned after experiencing and observing a lot of people who are great at their fields. So, I'm sorry. Leverage, apart from the 4 types that I gave, are of 2 types, and these 4 types come under one umbrella. So, leverage could be external and internal. All these 4 types are external forms of leverage, which is labor, capital, code, and media. Sorry, guys. These forms are external forms of leverage, which means that you yourself don't have to work upon yourself as much in order to get that. Of course, you need to work externally to get that. If I want to get the form of leverage of media, I need to create a YouTube channel. If I want to create a software, I need to learn how to code. So all those things are external. Another form of leverage is internal leverage, and this no one ever talks about. This is why someone like Sarthak scores better than me in class 10 exams, and someone like Sarthak can do a hard level JEE question within minutes, and I couldn't even do in one whole hour. This is internal leverage. Internal leverage is when you yourself work upon your skills so that whatever you do per unit of time gets more results. So to phrase it in simple words, leverage is the difference between what you put in and what you get. The more the disparity between what you put in and what you get is, the higher the leverage. Think of leverage like a lever. Of course, leverage, the word itself comes from a lever. I think one great philosopher, I think it was Aristotle, he said that give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum to place it on and I can move the world. So with a lever, you would observe that people lift huge amounts of loads with just a little amount of effort because of the length of the arm, which acts as a force multiplier. Everyone who has gone through class 10 has studied this. So when I talk about internal leverage comes through volume, which means that in order to get as good as Sarthak in solving JEE advanced level questions, I need to practice as much as Sarthak. If Sarthak has done 10,000 questions, I need to do 10,000 questions. If Sarthak has put 16 hours per day for many months, I need to put in that to get to the level that he's at. But the catch here is that till the time I get to his level, he would already be ahead, because he would already be doing 16 hours per day for another 6 months, and I would just take 6 months to catch up to him, and he would already be ahead. So I think I'm getting a bit more all over the place here, because I'm still yet to clearly grasp the concept of internal leverage. Let me give you a few examples. For example, if I have a question in front of me, and Sarthak also has a few the same question in front of him, Sarthak might be able to do it faster because he knows a few tricks. He has the formula. He knows the formula like the back of his hand, and I do not have the tricks. Tricks help you gain a lot of leverage, because the same question which a person might take 2 or 3 minutes to solve, you can do it within 30 seconds because you know a trick to that question. I hope you're getting the point here. Leverage is just the difference between what you put in and what you get out. So if I have 2 salesmen right here, if I have 2 salesmen right in this place, and they're both on the phone pitching prospects, they're trying to sell stuff to people, who would you think has more leverage? A guy who has 3 years of experience in cold calling, or a beginner? Of course, the guy who has 3 years of experience of cold calling. Okay, if we make it same, both have 3 years of experience in cold calling, who would have better leverage now? The guy who has an automated dialer. An automated dialer is basically when you don't have to dial each number manually, it automatically dials all the people at the same time. So that's why he would save time and he would make more sales in less time. Okay, so they both have now same dialers. Now who gets more leverage? The guy who has a better list of prospects. So yeah, that's how different things which you work upon internally for sharpening your own skills, that's how they influence leverage. So that was the Yap session regarding leverage. I would highly recommend you guys to check out Alex Hormozi's video, which Sarthak would most likely attach in the description of this podcast. He's gone in complete detail of leverage, and I've this prospects example I've gotten from him only. So Sarthak, now shoot me with your arrows of questions.
Currently, I have no questions. The more you spoke, the clearer it got. And you left me with no questions. That was just fabulous. But I would like to say something on internal leverage. You know, I was searching about leverage only, and I stumbled upon one fact, which made me feel that all of us, not all of us, but many of us already have a huge leverage on 90% of the people in the world. And that leverage is our mindset and our inclination towards the right thing. Like, we know what we should do. Like, if you remember in the last podcast, I said to you that you are the one person who takes right decision even if they are hard. I'll ask you something. I saw a list of revenue efficient companies. Can you guess who the second company was? Not the first. Who was the second company?
Revenue efficient companies. So which means
Yeah,
that
just guess.
they
Take a
make
hint.
more revenue, or like what do you mean by revenue efficient? They make more revenue or they
That
make more profit?
they make more revenue. That is what it is.
They make more revenue. Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company.
See, I don't know, but maybe you are right. I'm not saying you are wrong. But what I saw in that list was Nvidia, 3.6 million in revenue efficiency. Now, guess who the first is and how much revenue efficiency it has.
Sorry, guess who the
First is and how much revenue efficiency it has.
Tesla?
No,
So
it's OnlyFans with a revenue efficiency of 36.7 million.
damn.
I was shocked. Like Nvidia, I saw things, it is doing such good things in tech. Like Nvidia is
Exactly.
one of the places people want to go to, all technical people. It is doing 3.6 million. Futuristic tech, AI is doing 3.6 million. And OnlyFans is doing 36.7 million. You see, this is the competition of the world. This is
Right.
what the leverage that we have. If we could just focus on the right thing, man, we are already ahead of the mass. Now we are in that category that actually works. So yeah, I mean, this is such a big leverage. People like you, like me, people who know what they are doing have.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I had for leverage, and I'll pass the baton over to Sarthak.
So I love that honestly because this is a topic people know so less about. Even I didn't know about it. When you told me that this is what we are gonna talk about, then I searched and then I understood that this is such an important topic that nobody talks about. It's less known, but it is very crucial to know what is leverage, how we can use it. But I still have a question to you. How do you think we can get this leverage? How do you think we can get any leverage in the current? Some of your insights on this.
I believe we're doing it right now. Me and you are doing it right now. We're using the power of media to communicate our thoughts. That is a form of leverage. Internal
That is
leverage,
one, that is good.
I don't think I have an answer to that because I'm still currently not sure if my hypothesis is true or not. I haven't heard a big shot talking about leverage till now. So, internal leverage, of course, leverage comes through volume. And yeah, so that's it. I think you have to use one of those four. That is how
Yeah,
you get ahead.
I agree. I agree. So now that you were talking about leverage, there is one thing I want to talk to you about that comes, I think, under internal leverage only, which, if mastered correctly, could help you loads, and that is learning techniques. You have been VIT student, I have been J Advanced student for so long, and I believe there must be something you follow, a plan, maybe a stepwise routine, maybe something. What do you think is your learning technique? Let's say today you come across something that you want to learn. Let's say you want to learn about designing. What steps would you follow? What do you think? What plan comes to your mind when you think about learning? What is your learning technique then?
So, first of all, I would like to say that I only learn about the things I care about. That's it. You can try to teach me everything about chess. I don't care about chess. I would learn nothing because I don't want to.
Magnus
Design?
Carlsen wants to know your location now.
Here's the vibe. Please send him to Khullabad. We'll have a good chat with him with the Kareli boys.
नहीं नहीं ठीक है. Anyways,
अभी
continue.
तक उसने खाली
Sorry about that.
वो टेबल पे स्टैम्प किया है, अब छाती पे स्टैम्प करेगा यहाँ पे आने के बाद.
Average Kareli boys.
सही है भाई. So yeah, I only learn about things that matter to me and which I care about. And if I care about something, I just go all in basically. That is my method of learning because I'm a very extremes kind of person. I know it is probably not a good mentality to live by. That's what my father also tells me, that either I'm working very, very hard, like 13, 14, 16 hours a day, or I'm just chilling, not working at all. And that's what I often tell Sarthak, that you would in future only find me in either one of two states. Either I would be dead broke, like, yeah, I'm not even going out and just surviving, or you would find me really, really rich. Nothing in between. So I like that. Extremes kind of mindset. And if I genuinely want to learn about something, I go extreme. I consume as much as possible about everything that is available about that topic. Also, it depends upon how much of a priority the topic is to me right now. For example, if back in November you came to me and asked that, bro, let's learn hockey, I would have told you to F off, because I couldn't care less about hockey. At that time, my priority was the exam, and currently the priorities are something else, which I plan to learn more about on. And there are two types of learning that happens. Some things you can just learn theoretically and be done with it, like evolution psychology, because that is evolution theory, evolution psychology, that is something you can't apply in real life, right? You can't just tell a mouse, have it in front of you and say, bro, evolve. Doesn't work like that. And that is just something you can read from books. And listen, some things, okay, I would correct myself. There are three things. There are three ways in which you can learn a thing. First is just by reading it. So there are some things which need to be learned just by reading them. Like evolution, you just can't bring a mouse into your house and, well, that rhymed, mouse into your house and have it right here and say, bro, evolve. Doesn't work like that. You can only learn through evolution, history, to a large extent geography. All of these things you can learn just by reading them. That's it. And another part is psychology, subjects like psychology. So you read about them and then you observe them. Psychology, physics, economics, all of that, you read about them and then you observe them. In psychology, I could learn about anything. Let's say, give me a psychological concept, Sarthak.
I would say for me, marketing or even flirting is a very big psychological concept.
I mean, that's good, but we want some fundamental concepts. Just give me 30 seconds to think about it. So, let's say I want to...
Tim, why do you think I want to share something? For me, this learning technique is a very fundamental psychological concept as well. Because
Wait.
how you learn...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, for me, this learning techniques that we are talking about is also a very deep psychological concept. Because how you learn, the process that you follow, shows a lot about you. And the more I'll say about it, the more you'll understand. First you say, Tim, and then I'll continue on this topic. This is a really fascinating topic for me, because very small things about you that maybe you don't even notice says, volumes on you.
Got it. So yeah, Well, I couldn't think of anything, but let's take a simple concept. So it's a no-based question. So if I have to ask Sarthak that, bro, do you want to hang out tomorrow? He might say no, because saying no gives us a feeling of control, feeling of power. So people are more inclined to say no, and because everyone is trying to get you to say yes, so we tend to reserve our yeses for the things that matter. And so then I might ask Sarthak, bro, would you be completely opposed? Would it be a crime to go out tomorrow? You would say no, and then that means that it is that means it is a yes. So you observe several psychological things happening in front of you. Like someone might overreact to a simple thing. Like someone brought their, like, some, for it's especially true for me. If I'm planning to meet with someone and they come more than 5 minutes late, I'm pissed. I am genuinely pissed, and I'm really really fucking angry about it. That happens because something in my past triggers that response. And that's when you read about psychology on observe. So it's something that you can't really apply. So in some cases you can apply, as I talked about the no based question, but some things you can just read and observe. Physics is a lot like this. You can apply physics as well, but you can observe it as well, happening just above me, like the fan is rotating. You can observe it as well everywhere. So when you observe it, you learn about it, you observe it, and then you apply it. Mostly newer skills, like this very skill that I'm talking to you, I'm trying to speak articulately, I'm trying not to repeat what I said, I'm trying not to speak these words like and, all of that. That is practice. So you learn about it, you observe it in action, and then you practice it. So that's how you apply your learning. And another great technique, so these are the 3 steps that one should usually follow to learn something. And another great technique is the Feynman technique. So Professor Richard Feynman, such a goat, and he published a lot of amazing papers, and he was very famous for his learning technique called Feynman technique. So what he used to do was, he believed that if you can't explain it and simplify it enough so that a 5-year-old could understand it, then you don't know it enough. So I try to simplify things a lot and try to understand the concept behind them rather than the theory and the jargon, basically. So that's all from my side.
Yeah, first of all, your take on psychology was very, very deep. Because what you said, I mean, that comes a little bit under gray psychology as well, if you know what I mean. But yeah, kudos to you, man, because this is a concept not many people know about or even understand why this actually works or how this actually works. But yeah, the Feynman technique is one of the best techniques. If you want to know if your technique's working, use the Feynman technique. I'm telling you. If you can explain it to your friend, choose a friend like I chose Trambikesh, come here. And I just sat him down and I, told him, understand designing and only through what I'm going to tell you. And if he becomes good at it, that means you are done. That means you have done very, very good and you have learned design. Now, coming to learning techniques. This is something that I have observed in me and certain people around me, which you could use in your life, you could use to learn different things, which would help you a lot. And I have seen people not using some of the very, apparent techniques that they should use. Now, I will take examples of me learning chess, me learning programming, and me preparing for JEE. Now, there are 2 kinds of learning you do. One, where you already have a set goal that, okay, this much is what I have to do, and then we have to do this. Like as Trambikesh said, that he had a goal to do 10,000 questions, 15,000 questions. You have a clear goal. But let's say you have a very vague goal that is not, brought down to the simplest level. That is, I want to get better at chess. That's one of the things you could want to learn about. Let's say you want to learn about chess. Now, a technique that I follow, and I named it application technique. I used it in chess and I used it in programming, and it's really, really good at teaching you stuff that you will remember for the rest of your life. So, the number one thing is choose something. Let's say choosing programming. I showed Trembikesh that day I made a fight program, fight from 1 to 14. Now, the technique, how I use this technique is I first learned about ternary operators. For those who are in programming, they would know what I mean. But to simplify things for you, ternary operators is like if this, then that, else that. There is an if else ladder at that point as well in programming, but I did not know that. I was just a beginner. And what I tried to do was many of my friends were making this fight program where they would, just enter something and the character would give a damage or, character would do something. And he sent something. Yeah, so I'm sorry about the technical glitch. This guy, yeah, in the beginning I was having a technical glitch. Now he is having a technical glitch. It looks like the supreme power doesn't want us to record this all powerful second episode of this podcast. No, maybe the Matrix already know what we are going to do. Maybe it's already afraid. You never know.
Never know, bro.
So coming back to this. Yeah. So my friends were making this fight program where they would give damage or do something. But I was also into it. I was like, I want to make this. So the moment I learned ternary operators, I used it. But it was so tough to do that. I, did some things. I went there and I applied my whole logic and I made that program. Just using ternary operators. And I think method calling is what you would call it. Now, I learned another thing. That was if else ladder. I kept the first program, made another program, and now I made the same exact program almost using if else ladder, just a little bit more efficient. Then I learned about inputs using scanner. There I did it. I started inputting, some things from the user, maybe a number, maybe something, a spell name, because we were just mad about Harry Potter, mad. So we did that, and that was really, really interesting for us. Now, why am I telling you this? This is a technique you can use. Think about something that, whatever you want to learn, you can use into. I would take a current example, Notion. I'm trying to learn Notion. I'm trying to, use Notion to organize my life. So what am I doing? I am watching a 7-hour video which will teach me a lot about Notion, but I have a plan. I learn about text boxes, I go to Notion and I type something and I try, okay, what is this? What is that? Just apply. Learn a very small concept and try to apply it as much as you can in your project. Because project making is one skill, this application is one skill that will help you grow in a subject or in a niche so much that you don't even know. Same with chess. Like, I learned the chess concept and I just, applied it in the next game. Let's say I learned skew attack. Next game, every move I'm trying to see, where is this skew attack? Why isn't there a skew attack? In chess, of course, you cannot in every game have a skew attack, but whenever it came, I was like, yeah, this is a skew attack. What it did was, for my chess game, even now, I haven't played for like a couple of months, but now I get back to it. I know what pattern I have to think about, what pattern I have to see, and it immediately clicks. Yeah, it might take a little bit of time in the beginning, but once you master this technique, this learning technique, phenomenal. Another technique that is not, I would say, the best of the learning techniques, but a very useful one that I just don't know why people don't use. It's very apparent to me, but I have seen people not using it, and that is experimentation. I don't know how many of you do it, and if you do it, kudos. I've seen not many people do it. Great job. So, what it is let's give you an example for this as well. I was trying to learn, make what Trambikesh called the nerdiest mistake analyzer, and I know nothing about Excel. I knew nothing. I was like, I opened that app around 7, 8 years ago. He said to me, "Lol." You sent lol. And I was like, you wrote something good. Good. But anyways, coming back. So I used Excel, but I haven't, opened it in what? Ages. Like in class six, we, wrote that step. Step one, open, start. Step two, open, type MS Excel and click on the icon. After that, I had this. Everybody remembers that. And if you miss one word, half marks gone. Yeah, pure nostalgia. So after that, I hadn't opened Excel. Ages. Did I remember how to use it? Hell no. No idea, mate. But when I opened it, I was like, what is this doing? Okay, so I clicked on a cell, inputted some number, like, okay. And then the designer in me woke up a little bit, chose a row. I was trying to, make a row for chapters, chose a row. Like, okay, let's do gray, whatever color suits. Chose a column for different types of mistakes. Okay, did it. Now I'm like, what to do now? Like, literally, that is what I was doing. Choosing a row, okay, let's do this. Just experimenting with stuff and, experimenting with different colors. And that is why I like designing as well. A lot of it is experimentation. You experiment, okay, let's see how this thing looks here. I think it would look good. That is what experimentation. And people who cannot do experimentation at times face the problem that they are not able to, go to a level they want to until they are perfect. Because experimentation requires you to be curious, not perfect. You won't get anything perfect within the experimentation, but you will know so much that you will be able to apply whatever in front of you to get the output. And that is something that this technique has taught me a lot. So as I was on my Excel journey, then I didn't know how to do some. I did not know how to do some. It's like, okay, I looked on the bar. There is something called auto sum, and it's not even sum, it's auto sum. I clicked it. He said something again. Just fuck around and find out. Exactly. We should name this technique not experimentation technique, but fuck around and find out technique. Faho. Uh, but this was good. This was good. Fuck around and find out. So exactly, fuck around things, man. Just do it. And yeah, even in class six, I had made no paragraphs, no pie charts. I don't know why. Was it even in our syllabus? I don't know. I don't remember shit.
Yeah,
But anyways,
they didn't used to teach us that shit. They were like,
yeah,
we were basically taught to memorize stuff, just to open it, make a new sheet, and bro, I legit in I think it was MX Excel only. We had a lab day, and I made the list of top movies and their unknown characters in there, and I'm really proud of that list till now.
but this is the reality. Bar graphs. The main point of Excel is that it is used for data analysis, and that's what not taught. But anyways, coming back, I just went to insert. I was like, we have to insert a bar graph. Let's search in insert. There is something called bar. I was like, okay, what is this? I didn't know. Actually, I didn't know, but I experimented. I first clicked with the pie chart. I was like, okay, this is what it does, but it won't help me. Okay, let's go to something else. Okay, this is XY scatter. If you are from Excel, you will know what XY scatter is. Then I was like, this is bar graph. But why is it horizontal bar graph? He sent something again. Bro, matrix attack stopped. Video stopped. No, he got attacked by the matrix. Now are you okay? I'm not gonna cut this. This is best. His video stopped and he said, bro, matrix attack. I'm telling you, there is matrix is everywhere. It just doesn't want us to record this podcast. Subscribe to us and help us defeat the matrix. Your integration हो गया subscription का. Yes, let's go. Now is your work. So we are back with the technical glitch. Matrix attacked us and discharged this guy's phone. And his phone is sadly was no more. We had to resuscitate him. So, anyways, coming back to our topic, fuck around and find out technique. That's a great name he has given, and I'm gonna use it from now on. Phone was in ICU. Oh my god. Did you perform the operation? Just revived. Ventilator. Oh my god. Yeah. You could switch assume to be ventilator. I did CPR, mouth to mouth. Did you give him CPR mouth to mouth?
नो सीबीआर
I know everything.
चार्जर पकड़ के रखो.
No. Charger. That is so good.
I came up.
So
I came up
coming
with this
back,
fact on the spot.
that was good, honestly. Charger पकड़ के रखो. My mind is going somewhere else for another word for charger, but I won't say
Control
it.
by control.
This is a clean podcast, guys. Control, control.
भावनाओं पे नियंत्रण.
Anyway, so coming back.
Focus.
भावना पे
Focus.
नियंत्रण.
Balance.
भावना कौन है?
Balance.
Are you recording this?
Yes.
Good. Something should be in the podcast so people know how unhinged we are. Coming back again, trying to come back to fuck around and find out technique. So, as I was saying, to the Excel story, we come back. So after that, what?
Irshad.
He sent something again. Irshad. Yeah. So continuing, now you shut up and not another word from you. Not a single word from you.
Sorry.
Until I say you can speak. You would be punished. Coming back. So, where was I? Yeah, I was searching for the bar graph. And he's typing something again. Only. We are never gonna get out of this unhinged mode unless I just ignore his messages. That's what I'm gonna do now. Yeah, so where was I? He's typing something again. I can't do this with him. I can't say what he typed, but okay.
Control. I just told you to control yourself.
The way you roll control, no control. You get it right. Oof. So, anyways, trying to come back for the 69th time to the topic, which I dearly love, learning techniques, something that I observed of my own. And one point that he said that I forgot to mention, psychology is all about observation. Psychology is all about observation. And first, a very big thing, the observation has to begin from you. Because if you can't observe yourself, you can't observe world. You can't observe shit. I'm telling you. If you try to observe the world without observing yourself first, 90% observation wrong. Guarantee is here. And if you get it right, come to me. I'll sign an autograph for you. My autograph in some years would be very, very valuable. So, coming back. So, yeah, we were on bar graph for the 69th time. So, I searched for the bar graph in the insert menu, and the first time I clicked, I was like, why is this horizontal? Why is this like this? I want this graph. No, ऊपर नीचे होना चाहिए भाई. And then I, tapped it again. No, it just didn't help. Then I right clicked it because I have learned from my experience, if left click doesn't work, do right click. Something will work.
Average programmer.
And it did work. Average programmer, yes. If left click doesn't work, do right click. It will work, sure. So I'll right click the bar graph and it shows change to different, whatever it is called. I forget, I just see it and then I understand. And I clicked it and it was like everything was there and I understood. Okay, this is how we do it, guys. Like, this is how we do it. We found it. And from there, experimentation works like this. Fuck around and find out. And this is another way I, got myself a little bit familiar about Notion as well. What I did was I downloaded a template and it was, to-do list kind of a template where, this is a priority, this is not the priority. And just I tried, okay, add something, add the time. What is this time? Starting time, finish time. Something I was just doing anything. Trying to, for this work, this should be the starting time, this should be the ending time. And I just said, okay, we see this is how we could do time. Okay, now what about numbers? What all can we feel? Well, feel kya hota hai? Anyways, what all can we feel? And I even tried in the number box to type letters. It did not type them. I was like, okay, only numbers. That's good. And I tried to make a new page even without going for this video. I was like, just first experiment with Notion. So yeah, as this guy named this, fuck around and find out technique. These two techniques I use personally when I do not have a very clear goal. I just have the goal that yeah, we should get better or we should be better at this thing. Then only I use this. But if you have a good goal, you are sure, okay, this much. Like for my JEE syllabus, okay, this much is the goal. I do two things, and this is very comprehensive because I have just used it. Strategy and tactics, as it is said in chess. There are two plays in chess. Strategy, that is the long game, that is the overhaul of, for example, you are like, I'll play the Queen's Indian defense. That's what I play usually. It will give me a dynamic center. This is what he will play most probably. And from there, I'll try a kingside attack or a majority attack. People who do know chess must relate to this. And he's typing something again. Okay, we'll wait till he types to before going. Bro speaks Greek sometimes. Yes, I speak Greek, Italian, Latin, French, Spanish, everything. Io sono Sarthak. This is Italian. What?
Speak Bhojpuri.
Bhojpuri. Kahawa. Nah, I can't speak Bhojpuri well. Come on, let it be. I'm not good at Bhojpuri. I'm better at Italian.
ना
Mamma
हमका चेस
mia.
के बारे में पता है,
Anyways,
ना कोनो उन लोगों का चेस के बारे में पता है. क्वींस इंडियन डिफेंस, किंग साइड अटैक, किसी की समझ नहीं आवत. थोड़ा सिंपलीफाई करो भाई.
तो क्या समझन पड़ी? See, with chess, you cannot simplify unless I go too deep into what is King's Indian defense. And even if you ask me what is King's Indian defense, I would say d4. You still won't know what d4 is. You would be even more confused. How the hell are you saying it is d4? Unless you know something about chess, you'll be like, what the fuck is d4? What is this? So it's better you don't know, because if you get me started on this podcast is gonna be 8 hours long, comprising of all the books that I studied on chess. So yeah, let's not do it. And I'm serious. Me and my must do f5. F5. F5 from black? On that note, d4 and f5 is Dutch defense. Why did I told you this? Well, why did I tell you this? Okay, somebody actually told. One of my friends told me. That is the point. That he gets ick from grammatical mistakes. So yeah. Acha, I got no WW. Now you are speaking Greek. He is giving me WWE reference when I know nothing about it. What will I do with it? I don't know. Just like I'm telling you right now about Queen's Indian defense and you know nothing. But anyways, get the gist. भावना गजब. अरे, yeah. Come on, you are distracting me and then you are saying कल सुबह पनवेल निकलना है तो distract करना बंद करना भाई. F5 के बारे में जाने देना. Balance. कौन सा balance? Weight balance? Anyways, spring balance. Even I can't stop, and it's my mistake as well. I should stop.
Bank balance.
Bank balance. मेरा exist नहीं कर रहा है यार. My bank balance doesn't exist. For now, it doesn't exist. So, guys, if you want to send me something, just call me. I will send you the link. Please.
Bro talks about cash.
Very much needed. कैश पे बाप के कैश पे ऐश करने का था.
मुझे में कैश छुपा गया. अबे भाई हम लोग कहाँ जा रहे हैं? सार्थक भाई लर्निंग कंप्लीट करो. माय बैड.
यही तो प्रॉब्लम है हम लोग के साथ. Anyways, coming back to learning. So as I was saying, what I was saying, I also forgot. One eternity later coming in.
One eternity later.
So we are back again. And because this guy interrupts me a lot, and especially today, maybe Matrix has hacked his brain. I can see. Anyways, coming back to it, I know it's all Greek and Latin to you. Two for two. The competitiveness is getting to our podcast as well. Anyways, we'll roll. So, I know this must be Greek and Latin too, and I'm sorry for that, but don't get me started on chess. Because if you do, as I said, podcast would be too long for me to edit. And I have to edit the podcast as well. So, coming back to learning. He sent something against strategy and tactics. Yes. Sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Strategy and tactics. Let's fuck chess. Let's not fuck chess. But strategy and tactics. Strategy, if I tell you, is just an overview of what you are gonna do. So, at the beginning of 12th, I made an overview for JEE Advanced preparation. I said, firstly, along with my coaching, I'll revise 11th from certain YouTube videos or books and my previous notes. And I'll make new notes so that everything is in one place. Secondly, what I realized when I was doing this strategy was I need to do 12th again as well. So I was like, as and when in different brackets, I will do 12th as well. And by December or January, I'll try to complete the syllabus. This was my strategy. Now, coming on to tactics. What I call tactics is the small per day norms, per day, regulations that you keep for yourself. For me, these regulations were every day I'll watch at least 2 to 3 hours of lecture if I have coaching, 5 to 6 hours if I do not have coaching. You know, if with coaching it's hard. So, and by the end of the night, when before I'm going to sleep, for 1 to 2 hours, I'll solve questions only of 12th topics. Why? Because 12th topics were new and I need to revise them every day. The strategy was clear: revise 11th, do 12th, and in blocks, do 12th again. But the tactic is what is also important. How are you going to achieve this? And that only the person who makes the strategy, who makes the tactics, can do. And many times people were like, oh, my this chapter is weak. And I realized, okay, my this chapter is also weak. I looked at my plan and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this chapter at that day, or I'm doing this chapter at this day. That helps. It kept me so calm during the preparation because I knew at the end of the day, at the end of the preparation, I would have done everything I need to do. So it made my mind focused on one thing, that is doing the tactics with utmost confidence and utmost precision. That is important. That is why I call this a very comprehensive but a fail safe technique. I haven't given it a name, maybe Trambikesh could help me with it. Maybe strategy and tactics is what I call it. Strategy. So that you know what you are doing, for how you are going to achieve that goal in that or whatever time period you choose. How you are going to achieve that goal. What are the small, big, plans that you have? Maybe it could include some breaks as well as and what you wish. And tactics. Every day what you are gonna do. Very solid, very clear plans. Strategy should be towards the main goal. Tactics should be towards the completion of the strategy. And once you inculcate this in yourself, it would be very, very easy to achieve any task. At times, it won't be ideal. And I accept. I was only able to achieve 80 to 90% of my tactics, which considerably is good, not bad. But if you are making these tactics, at least you're having a plan. And one of the best things about this is whenever you wake up in morning, you know what I'm going to do. And I've made tactics so much that I knew that okay, on this day I'm going to do this chapter, on that day I'm going to do that chapter. In such a way, I have a program made on it. I have a full program made on it that just I did what that program does. What I have inputted the number of chapters in it, and in some programs I've even inputted the number of hours. So what it does is, let's say I want to study for 6 hours a day apart from coaching. It divides them. Okay, 4 hours to this. Let's say I said rotation requires 8 hours. So it will give 8 continuous hours to rotation even if it divides in 2 days. I want just 1 hour for kinematics, but 2 hours for, let's say, matrices and determinants. It will give 1 hour to kinematics, 2 hours to matrices and determinants, and I'll add all the chapters in this way, and I have a tactic plan. Whatever tactic I made tactics, every 2 3 months, so that my strategy is well on point and is timed. It's completed by time. So this technique is hard to follow, but fail safe. You can never go wrong with this technique. The only drawback is you need to know what all you have to do. What is your goal? You need to know exactly. Like I knew these are the chapters. 2 years back I knew these are the chapters. But let's say I want to learn Notion, which I'm currently doing. You can't employ this tactic because you don't know what all Notion comprises of. I'm trying to build, something that could organize my day when I go ahead in life, for my college, for this podcast as well. So, I know that, okay, at this timing, I would be doing this. Again, a little bit of hybrid of this strategy. That's what I just told you, that, planning each day, but not that much. So that is why I'm trying to learn Notion, but I don't know how many blocks are in Notion. No idea, mate. I got no idea. But I am trying to learn, and that's where the other two techniques are. So, learning techniques are really, really important, and you have to understand what technique you use. Many people use the technique of they learn a lot of things. One of the other things that I do, slingshot. This is the whole technique of my whole study, but for one particular chapter or one particular thing, what I do. It's a question that I asked myself once. That how do I study a chapter? How do I master a chapter? Because being so much interested in psychology, I go to myself and think, okay, why I do this, how I do this, and you should too. Really important. Ask yourself why and how, what, the three W's or five W's or whatever. Ask yourself that. But what I was trying to tell you is, I use the technique which I name slingshot. Slingshot technique. What I do is, many people they do what? Okay, I learn a little bit of theory, and slowly I'm building on that theory. What I do is, and I have been using it since class 10th, I read a theory completely, but in very short amount of time. Okay, I read it, I wait for a couple of days, I wait for a week, reread the theory. I have a little bit of, left, images or silhouette in my mind that, okay, this is what this chapter was about, but I don't remember much. I did not do it in, I did a chapter in one day for the first time. How am I going to remember? But what this does is, it helps you realize what you don't know, what you are much likely to forget. And that is where I always score. I know, okay, this is the point I'm gonna forget. Write it somewhere, or just I just keep it in my mind that this is what I forget, and I do it again. But what it does, it initially takes a lot of time. So for the 1 week, if objectively speaking, you are just at the point where you were 1 week before. For 1 week, you have done nothing, except you have gone back only. 1 week before, you could say, "Oh, I know this chapter," but today you are like, "Oh, I don't even know this. Okay, I forgot this." But once, like, oh, what?
Bhula. If you know, you know.
Hula. No, I don't.
Continue.
I actually
The
don't
audience knows.
date it. Anyways, audience, oh, I know less than the audience in jokes. Existential crisis coming in.
At 18.
Anyways, yes, at 18, existential crisis. Such a bad life. Chhat kahan hai bhai? Anyways, coming back to the topic. As I was saying to you, the slingshot technique. Yeah, that is what I was saying. The slingshot technique. So by 1 week, let's say you use method one that usually people use. That they are, slowly, they read one part, they try to memorize it, then they move to the other part. By the end of the week, they are half chapter done. Great, they have done something. But what have you done in your week? You just speed run the chapters. You maybe make. I used to make notes in that week as well. What have you done? Almost nothing. Because by the end of the week, you don't remember much. Your recalling power is not that much. But you reread the chapter slowly and understand, okay, and in a quizzing way as well. Okay, what is this about? Okay, let's say I read a topic. I remember very, vividly. I was like photosynthesis. That was class 9th. The major definition change of photosynthesis was there in that time. I was like, what is photosynthesis? I remembered the class 6, 7, definition, but I could not recall the class 9 definition. And then I put away my hand from the definition. I reread it and I realized, oh, I did not remember this at all. And from that day till the day of my 10th exam, never forgot the definition of photosynthesis. Never. I still somewhat recall it, but it's been so long. So that is, but it's test. Yeah, it's test just to test you how much you remember, and it's gonna be bad. I'm telling you, you're gonna remember next to nothing. So that is why I call this technique slingshot. In 1 week, you have gone back, but gone back in a way that you know exactly what to do. Exactly. And now, when you release yourself from that week, you are miles ahead of everyone because everyone is building blocks. You know where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. You know, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember this formula. Oh, I remember this fact. I remember this point. Kudos. You know exactly where your strengths are. You know exactly where your weaknesses are. And that is a technique you should use. You should definitely try. Because once you know where you lack, where you are strong, it's a confidence giving factor as well. Because uh, one of the things that I realized in J Advance is in learning, in results, momentum is really important. People don't talk about momentum that much. I was going to talk about momentum wholly in a separate podcast as well. People don't understand the importance of momentum. It's so important. What you do the last test, what you do yesterday, goes to the next day as well. If you're procrastinating yesterday, you might procrastinate less, but you are gonna procrastinate. The momentum of procrastination is there. And I remember one thing from Andrew Tate. I know people hate him, but he has said some very good things. He said people create downward spirals. He said some top G, yes, top G. Anyway, so he said people create downward spirals. That, one bad thing, they feel bad about themselves. And then after that, you know, what I got, how did I leave? Okay, anyways, not Matrix attacks. He said, wait, I got disconnected from the channel. One mention of Top G and another Matrix attack. Actually, I did that to myself. I was, trying to go back to my recording and I clicked disconnected. Anyways, so ब्रोकी अच्छा लैपटॉप दिला दो भाई.
फिर तेरा घर जाएगा.
Anyway, घर चला जाएगा. 80,000 का लैपटॉप है. We got cutting, yeah. So it's a very interesting thing, and I will always remember this downward spirals. He said people create downward spirals. They do a bad thing one day. Oh, they feel guilty. Another bad thing. Oh, I feel guilty so much. I wasted 2 days of my life. I don't want to do anything. They waste the third day as well, and now they are in a downward spiral. They are wasting days after days after days. And he mentioned one thing: momentum is important. Why don't we create an upward spiral? And I heard about downward spirals. I heard about life spiraling out of control, but I never heard from anybody upward spiral. And it was really intriguing, and I started to think about it. You are in a very bad place. You do one good thing. Okay, I did something good. Instead of focusing on the bad, focus on the good. Positivity in other ways, but I would like to call it upward spiral. Okay, I did one good thing today. I learned for 10 minutes. Tomorrow I'm going to learn for 20. That momentum of doing good creates an upward spiral. And that is how he said, that is how he said you create wealth. The thing that he said about leverage, a little bit different thing I talk about in upward spiral, and that is momentum. Next podcast will be about momentum. Keep going. But just a little hint. Do think about momentum. Yeah, we are gonna do it. Momentum is a topic people don't think about. It's like, what is momentum? I'll change momentum. No, bro, it's not elastic collision in life. It's completely inelastic.
E equals to 1.
Physics joke. E equals to 0 in elastic. E equals to 1 is in elastic.
We want to get to E equals
Yes, we want to get to E equals to 1. Yes. So, I hope you are as excited as me for the next podcast. That will be about momentum from my side. This guy will bring something amazing next week as well. But I think from my side for today, I know I've yapped a lot. I have yapped about a lot of things. I know at times it's Greek and Latin. But just get the gist of it, what I'm trying to say. Because, learning techniques, you know, one thing that I'll do say to you, measure your own learning techniques. Don't just go after mine. I have developed some, I have observed my learning techniques, how I learn, how I try and learn. Do that to yourself. Find the learning techniques that suits best. At times it's gonna be inefficient, but when you try and learn, you will see your problems, why you are not able to, get some marks in mocks. There must be something wrong. Okay, my learning technique is not that efficient. Oh, I need to change a little bit of that. Oh, I don't know where my mistakes lie. Test yourself more. This happened with me in J advanced preparation as well. I was getting so low on accuracy. So what I did was, uh, I was like, okay, in test, what we have to do? We cannot see the answers. We don't know the answers. And many times when we actually do sums, when we are practicing for question solving, we do a sum, we check if the answer is correct or not. Oh, it's correct. Yes, it's not correct. Oh, we do it again. But that's not the liberty that we have, in tests. We don't know the real answer. We cannot check it. We cannot check after every question if the last answer was correct or not. So what to do? I already pre-made some 10-15 pages of 1 to 25 number. I'm going to do 25 questions in a row. No answer speaking, nothing. And then I realized how much less accuracy I was having in question solving. Test was better because I was much more vigilant. I was actually checking my answers. I remember the first time I did 25 questions, I got 9 correct, 16 wrong in the first round. And it was eye-opening. I was like, damn, my learning technique was wrong. A little bit wrong, but wrong. I was solving questions, but I was solving questions maybe in the second go, maybe in the third go. I was understanding. I was doing this. But the property of tests, that small thing of just not seeing the answers brought a lot of change. So see your own learning techniques, curate it to your needs, and see how much you get better in life. And I promise to you, once, just observe yourself. Self introspection is really important. So yeah, I think this is for today. It's been a long podcast. We have been recording it for a long time. Too many glitches as well, but it came out beautiful. I loved it. Same. What?
And for those who are wondering, photosynthesis is the process by which green plants prepare sugars in the presence of light by using water and carbon dioxide in the presence of light, basically, and chlorophyll also. So green plants got that covered.
He was waiting for that joke. He was waiting since ages for that joke.
Right, bro.
Like, he was like that assassin that, waits at that rooftop. Okay, now my target is going to come. Aaya, ab pagad mein aaya.
Also, guys,
He
to
was just
summarize
like
the
that
strategy and
assassin.
tactics one in one line. So, totally. Yeah, to summarize the tactics and strategy in one line, I really love that concept. It was something that is new to me. This is something that I will use myself to remember this concept. Is that strategy is maksad. Maksad nahi bhulna hai. That and tactics is
Maksad nahi
inshallah
bhulna
voice played
bhai.
well. And tactics is inshallah voice played well.
No, inshallah, boys have to play well. Inshallah, boys have to
Boys
play
have to
well.
play well.
I have a little correction. Yes. Maksad. Hey, ये बताओ. Yeah, but you should use that. I think strategy and tactics is a method that helped me a lot in this preparation. A lot.
That was a great monologue. Lots of valuable insights to be had there. Really valuable.
Thank
Golden
you.
nuggets.
Golden nuggets?
Yeah, but chicken nuggets, but golden ones. बट तुम तो नॉनवेज हो, तुम्हारे लिए तो
Okay, crisp. Ah. Now I really want to have a plate of chicken nuggets. Sad.
राम राम.
It's 2 a.m. Oh, anyways, I think we should end this, or it will go on for infinity with these jokes.
Right. That was it, ladies and
Tim.
gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Good night, Shivratri, Shiva Bakhair. This is Tim Nivedi signing off.
This is Sarthak Singh signing off.
Beautiful.